Hi, welcome to Trailblazing Tuesdays with Latresa. I am your host, Latresa Rice, your certified mindset coach. I help bereaved Christians regain hope by rediscovering their identity and healing through writing. Listen, if you've been following this series, you know we've already dealt with the P in the word plant, which is you preparing for what you desire. We've dealt with the L in the word plant, which is learning your craft. And now we are dealing with the A in the word plant. So we have to deal with that. You're probably saying to yourself, okay, what does the A stand for? And what does it stand for? Okay. So the A stands for agree with God. How many of you know that when God gave you the vision for the book, and let's say this is your first book, right? He gave you the vision. He told you to write this book. Some of you have an outline for the book, but you feel unworthy or you feel like I've never written a book before. I'm terrified. I don't believe that I can do it. I don't even know anybody that's connected to me that has done it. Some of you are in that state. I've been there. I remember when I wrote my first book and I was thinking to myself, what? Write a book? What? Write my story? What? What if I don't get everything right? What if I miss something? What if? Anytime you present all of your what ifs, in that moment, we're not agreeing with God. He wouldn't give you the mission if he didn't deem you capable of doing it with him. Because keep in mind, this book is beyond just you. You're not even writing it yourself. It's beyond just you. You're going to need the Lord's help to recall information. You're going to need the Lord's help to write this story because some parts of our story, and I know a lot of times when we are talking about our lives and our backgrounds, we wish that everything was all wonderful, peaches, a white picket fence, and a little dog, and all that other stuff. But how many of you know that when you're talking about real people, real human beings, we got real issues. We have real stuff that we deal with. And in the midst of all the beauty, there are some thorns. You have a beautiful rose, but there's some thorns that must be present. And each of them thorns have a purpose. And you can't talk about the rose without dealing with the thorns. We can't talk about your story without dealing with the pain that's in the midst of that story. There's some lessons that came from the pain. So it's important that you agree with God. If you've been called to write your story, you need to agree with God that he's blessed you to be able to do so, that he's blessed you with the resources necessary to manifest this product. It's everything you need is already in your hand. You have everything you need. Unfortunately, sometimes we have everything we need, but we give it all away. In this instance, you're not being called to just give it all away. That's not what this is about. You have to write it out. We need to write the vision and make it plain that he who sees it will run with it. This is your time of writing. This is your time of exercising the authority that God has given you. And if we're going to agree with God, the first thing that came to our mind is I.K.R. I know, right? For those of us who are Christian, we already know we need to be agreeing with God. We're not trying to wrestle with God. No, hold up. We need to agree with him. I desire, you maybe said, I desire to agree with him. But right now, I'm afraid. Be real about where you are. Know where you are. I desire to agree with God. But right now, I still feel myself struggling with the loss of my loved one. I understand that. Listen, your girl here, I've been walking that thing out. I agree with God with regards to writing my story. So I took the steps. I talked about the fact that in 2020, I lost my husband due to COVID-19. And I talked about the fact that I'm working on this book called Hurt But Grateful, right? And I know he's calling me to write this book. during the hardest period of my life when I was struggling to get out of this massive depression that I was dealing with. I was making these different Facebook posts to encourage myself, but there were different people reading the posts. And some of the inbox messages that I received from them, there were marriages that were salvaged. There were relationships that were developed. There were so many things that took place from those who read these messages and actually put in some effort and action. And I'm like, okay, they were blessed in the midst of me trying to heal. I would post it, but I'm rereading it. And sometimes I reread it and I'm crying, I'm struggling. As an author, I didn't even want to write anymore. I was going through all of that pain. And I know that it's important for me to agree with God. I'm an ordained elder. I love the Lord. I need to agree with God. And not only just agreeing with him with my mouth. Because see, sometimes we're still at the total. We haven't made it to the nevertheless yet. So I went through the period of agreeing with him with my mouth, but I had to also agree with him in my actions. And in order to agree with him with my actions, I had to do something that lines up with what my mouth said, right? I know, right? So type in the comment section, I.K.R. And I'm going to share with you why that is an important step of agreeing with God. Here we go. I.K.R. If we're going to agree with God, the first thing we need to do is inspect his word concerning you. Inspect his word concerning you. When you are dealing with pain from the loss of a loved one, sometimes we forget who we are. In this moment, listen, I'm just trying to live. In this moment, I don't even want to see, right? I've been there. In the moment, I don't care about going outside and all that other stuff that people tell you. I'm trying to do that. I'm just trying to make it from that day. I'm just trying to live here. But if I inspect his word concerning me, then I know that this too shall pass. If I inspect his word concerning me, then I know that I am the righteousness of God in Christ Jesus. If I inspect his word, and when I say inspect, I want you to picture, some of you probably remember Inspector Gadget, right? And you got that glass and you're looking through stuff. For those of you who remember, or even the young people who are maybe watching this, Scooby-Doo, they're inspecting the case, the facts behind the case. You need to take that Bible and comb through it. What are the promises that he laid out in the word for you? Inspect his word concerning you. That's important, because this is something you have to remind yourself of when you're dealing with that type of pain and that type of hardship. You have to remind yourself of what he said about you, because at that time, you don't feel so lovely. At that time, you may not feel that he loves you in this moment because of the intensity or the magnitude of the pain you're experiencing from the loss. But as you inspect his word concerning you, you can actually stand upright in the kingdom authority that he's given you and walk boldly, knowing that you will overcome this trial. You will be able to write your story. You will be able to reach others with the solutions in your story, because he's empowered you to do so. So the first thing that we need to do, put an I in the comment section. I-inspect his word concerning you. The next thing that I encourage you to do, if we're going to agree with God, I need you to put a K in the comment section. K-kneel in prayer daily. K-kneel in prayer daily. When I say kneel in prayer, you can physically kneel, but some of us know that my knees ain't really that great right now. For some of us, we need to be real. That doesn't mean that you can't kneel. For you, your kneeling is a position of posture of your heart. Where's your heart at? Are you being humble in your prayers with God? Or are you being entitled? Sometimes when we talk about children, and if we're saying we're children of God, then okay. Sometimes when we're being children, we know we're royalty and we know that we're made in his image and after his likeness. Instead of coming from a position of humility, we come from a position of entitlement. And see, entitlement actually is a net that costs you. It can cost you everything. It's not about entitlement. It's about humility. If I'm going to agree with God, meaning I'm going to receive his will for my life, I'm going to actually surrender my will to him and ask him to use me how he sees fit. I'm going to agree with what he said about me. Then I need to know what he said. I need to inspect his word, and I need to humble myself before him and listen. I need to hear what he is calling me to do in this process. If I'm writing my story, I need to hear, what's the title? What title would you have me put here that is going to reach the people you desire to reach with this story? Because your story is beyond you. It's not about you. It may feel like it is, but baby, it's not about you. You went through what you went through, and you're coming out on the other side, or you already came out on the other side. And the solutions that are in your story, somebody else is in that process of trying to get out, and they need what you have to offer. But it needs to be presented in a manner in which they can receive it. God knows his children. He knows every one of us. He knows exactly how information needs to be presented so that we can receive it. So as you're kneeling in prayer, you're submitting and you're listening for direction and guidance from God. You're also speaking to him. You can be praying for your clients that are to come, those who will read your story. You can pray for them. Pray that it impacts them and they receive what they came to receive from that story. It's important. See, too often we only pray for ourselves, or we pray that our business is expanded, and we pray that the different ideas that God gives us are very fruitful, right? We're praying for increase, but that increase comes in more than just financial ways. And if you're really writing this story because you're being led to do so, then you're writing this story for people. You're writing a story for souls. You're writing this story to impact his people. It's a seed. It's a seed that you're planting. And you need to know where to plant it. And you need to pray for the success of that planting. You want it to grow roots. You want the people to read this book that you're writing and be able to apply the concepts and the information that they receive from your story to their own life so that their life can change and the lives of those attached to them can change. So make sure you are kneeling in prayer daily on behalf, not just of yourself, but on behalf of the readers of your story, on behalf of those who are in your story, on behalf of those who you may go and deliver a presentation based on your story. We're kneeling in prayer. We're asking God to use us how he sees fit to use us in the multiple platforms. Because if God is calling you to write your story, then he's calling you to multiple streams of income. He's calling you to multiple expressions of purpose. So we need to kneel in prayer. And last but not least, I.K.R. I know, right? Last but not least, put an R in the comment box. R-recite his word daily over yourself and your business. R-recite his word daily over yourself and your business. If you're going to agree with God, we need to agree with God, not just in our mind, but we need to agree with God in our mind, in our speech, and also in our actions. Faith without works is dead. So if I'm going to agree with God, I need to first know what he said. I need to declare what he said. I need to decree it. So I need to decree his word over myself. I need to decree his word over my books, my business. I need to decree his word over the people who will receive the products that he is calling me to deliver. And watch God blow your mind. I hope you have been blessed by this segment of the Plant series. Again, I am your host, Latresa Rice, your certified mindset coach. I help bereaved Christians regain hope by rediscovering their identity and healing through writing. Listen, October 6th through 8th, you do not want to miss the Clarity in the Pen conference. Make sure you are in the room. We have 7 phenomenal presentations that will be going forth. We have different speakers who will be talking about marketing your book, writing your story. They will also be talking about, for those of you who lost a spouse, but you desire to remarry, they will be talking about that. We have a relationship strategist that will be presenting. We have those who will be dealing with mindset and forgiveness so that you can leave this conference empowered, informed, and have all the different resources you need to write your story, to market that book, and to go forth in excellence. Also, at this conference, we will be having a ball. We're attending the Writers' Ball, whoop, whoop, where you will dress up in a costume related to one of your favorite books, right? And for those of you who ever read the Harry Potter books, who ever read the Wakanda, Avatar, the different Marvel books, those of you who have, maybe you read another book. There was a book called Sisters Making Your Money Grow. Maybe you read that and you saw the cover and you wanted to dress up as that person because that was one of your favorite books. Whatever it is, you should come to the Writers' Ball. We are going to eat and dine like the royalty that we are and dress up and have fun. Sometimes when we go through hardship and all that different pain, we need an opportunity to have a release. Yes, I'm called to write my story. Yes, I need the tools necessary to write this story and do it and release it in excellence. But I also need just a fun break. The Writers' Ball is an aspect of the conference. For those of you who pay to register to attend the conference, the Writers' Ball is included in your fee to attend the conference. For those of you who, I don't want to write my story, I'm good, I'm doing pretty decent, but I like, the idea of coming and dressing up in a costume and dining like royalty. That's up my alley. I like that. You are still welcome to come to the Writers' Ball. There are certain tickets set aside just for those who want to attend the Writers' Ball only. If you're interested in that, I need you to put a raised hand in the comments section, and I will send you information about that right now for a short period. First come, first serve. I have a discount code that I will give to those who are interested. Whether you're interested in attending the conference or you would like to only attend the Writers' Ball, just put a raised hand in the comment section and I'll send you that information. Again, I hope this has blessed you. Thank you for participating in the P.L.A.N.T series where we are preparing for what we desire. We're learning our craft. We are actually agreeing with God, and there are 2 more letters. You want to stay tuned. You'll learn all about the other things that we're doing in this series. Have an amazing day.